Hi, everyone. I'm happy to virtually welcome you all to today's Ad Art Show 2020 Lunchtime POV from MVVO Art. My name is Emily Anastasi from the MVVO Art team, and it is my pleasure to introduce the first episode of a program hosted by Bennett D. Bennett, principal of Aerialist and co-founder of 600 and Rising, titled Don't Silence Our Voices, featuring Fearless Negro, Ad Art Show 2020 artist, Maria Van Vlodrop, founder and CEO of MVVO Art, and Isaac Aiden, chief curator of MVVO Art. Welcome, everyone. Let's get started.
Hello there. Happy Tuesday to everybody watching this. These frequent live streams at noon. It's good to talk to you. Good to have been, just chatting with some great creative ambassadors from the ad community over the last few weeks. This week we have a couple of very special conversations that revolve around a very special part of the Ad Art Show for this year called Don't Silence Our Voices Week. And we probably have the right few people to talk to about that. So, just a brief overview that I can give, and I'll let Maria and Isaac and Fearless Negro take that off my hands. Is this week, this year obviously has been just overcome by so much. Obviously, the pandemic, but also the elevated racial tensions that have come with the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and countless other unarmed civilians. So the team at the MVVO Art Show decided, we need to hold space for Black voices. We need to make sure that they're heard. We need to make sure that their talent is out in the open, given that we have this full Oculus space. And I will allow Maria and Isaac and Fearless Negro to continue this thought and give us the backstory.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the introduction, Bennett. And so basically, as you know, Ad Art Show is a project of MVVO Art, and MVVO Art creates opportunities for artists, innovative opportunities for artists to connect with collectors and art lovers and brands. So I'm really proud that our show, since 3 years, has had a lot of different kinds of artists with different backgrounds. So we've always been complimented for our diversity. And because, talent has no color, basically, and everyone applies, and we select, our art selection committee selects the best artists who participate. This year was a very special year, 2020, with the pandemic. So I'm very proud of all of our artists who are participating. All 135 artists were very resilient, and all of our partners and sponsors. And the MVVO Art team. So it's been a difficult year. And as Bennett was saying, it's been also a year, not just with the pandemic, filled with racial tension, with the George Floyd incident. So everyone at that time was, posting Black Lives Matter on their websites, on their Instagram. And of course, that is absolutely the right thing to do. And I thought we wanted to do more because we have a very diverse group of artists, and we have actually, I'm very, very proud, from all over the world. And we have also a lot of Black artists. So I thought it would be really important to start having dialogue with our own artists, and I picked up the phone and started calling the artists and talking about what can we do? What can we do that can be different? And I spoke to many. And of course, one of our wonderful, most dynamic, amazing, cool artists, Fearless Negro, had this idea. The idea came from her. And I will let her talk to you more about the idea, but basically the name came from her as well. And I thought it was a very good idea. So I immediately called my art curator, Isaac, and said, what do you think? And he thought, this is wonderful. And I let you know, let him talk to you about it himself. And then just before I give the floor to Isaac and Fearless Negro, I'd like to thank Lauren Dearling, our, my assistant, who is also our gallery director, who did a fabulous job organizing this, putting the selection committee together, putting the call for artists together, and also creating a gallery on Artsy. So again, Isaac will talk to you about the gallery, but not only are we showing the works of 7 talented artists nominated by art collectors and artists, but we're also showing them at the Oculus, but they also have a Artsy page on the MVV Art Gallery. Anyway, and just I would say one more thing. On the 23rd, we're launching it at the Oculus, and we're going to be down there meeting with the artists. So if anyone is at the Oculus, meet us at 2:00.
Hey, Fearless Negro, would love for you to pick up from where Maria left off. We've got you on mute. Still on mute. There we go.
You're good. Unmute.
You're on mute again.
Hello?
Yes, we've got you.
Hi, thank you so much, Maria, for that introduction. And thank you so much for, having us on board with Don't Silence Our Voices. It's so important, especially to express ourselves, especially in this tumultuous time where everything is coming to a head. I feel like in moments like these, we need to focus on what's beautiful and what's right with the world. And that's what we can use our voices to do, in moments of 2020, kind of knocking our socks off, just starting over and again, maintaining that strength in our voice, and don't silence the voices, especially with what's going on. I felt that it was just a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for people who have felt that their voices go on deaf ears.
Great. I want to follow up with you specifically, Fearless Negro, for our audience who isn't familiar with you and your work. Would love for you to, give a little bit more backstory about yourself. You also you were part of previous art shows, at art shows specifically, and would love for people to understand the vantage point that you're coming from as an artist and the work that you do.
Oh, thank you. I've just had my last experience in advertising, working for Havas, which was really great. I was a copywriter. And from there, before then, let's back up, art has always been my therapy. So I knew how important it was for in moments like this, for people to have something to cling to have something to cultivate. And so in all my years, yes, I've been self-taught, but I've also honed my skills in, doing screen printing, painting. At first, I didn't love painting, but I was introduced when I was in art honors in high school at the Beacon School. And that's when I got introduced to painting. And I just realized to make it my own, when you try to put yourself in a certain box or you try to put yourself on a certain pedestal, I realized it's just to get rid of the entire box and just keep building and evolve, because that's really what is happening now. That's really what's happening with art. We're evolving from galleries. We're having LED screens that people who are passersby, people who are shoppers, people who are, there by accident, get a taste of art, but get a taste of the evolution of advertising, which is really beautiful. And I feel like in this moment with everything happening, people are evolving in, the way they use their voices. People are evolving in how they use their platforms. People are evolving in how they collaborate. because life is a collaboration. And I feel like the main focus is the evolution of advertising, which ad art has so graciously shown, and so humbly shown how you can use these giant LED screens and use these artists with their great voices, which is their art and their way of expressing themselves, and putting that together and showcasing that, yes, life is a collaboration. And yes, with all this happening, we as people need to come together, use each other's strengths, and make it something unforgettable, something epic as the ad art show. And I just want to thank Maria again for this amazing opportunity in showing that when things change, we can change as well. I mean, pain is pain. But what do we get from that? What do we cultivate from that? What have we made from our pain? What have we made from our voices? And it's something very beautiful, as you see when you go into the Oculus and the World Trade Center Mall. It's just amazing to go in there for something else and, see how people use space and time and evolution. All of that goes hand in hand. And I just really do love how we, as people of the United States of America, use our platform to make something even more grander out of what we would have never dreamed of coming out of. And I just really love that.
Great. Isaac, want to get you in on this conversation. For those not, one detail that's been floating around in both what Maria and Fearless Negro have said is that most of these artists that are appearing this week, most of these Black artists are self-taught. They're often underlooked. Obviously, there is this huge contingent of major art schools, but like, how important is it that we were able to bring in people who are mostly teaching themselves? I'm sure that's a thing in the art world, but to really, really hammer the point that creativity can come from anywhere. Would love your thoughts.
Well, I'm a firm believer that people don't need an education to be creative. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not a proponent of higher education. I really, really believe in higher education. I think that everyone should strive for as much education as possible. However, access to education is not necessarily universally available. It can be very expensive, and it can be very difficult, especially considering various social backgrounds, the demands of economic. It's kind of a catch-22, because sometimes you don't have the money to go to school, yet if you do go to school, you're more likely to gain more. But in terms of creativity, there's a long discourse that I have. One of the things I'm very interested in is African quilts, African American quilts, Amish quilts, and these are done by anonymous women. The ones that I'm most interested in are done in the 19th century. And that point, what would be the rubric of what would be good would be a landscape painting that's realistic. But those pieces now, if you compare them with abstract art, they're phenomenal. And those women didn't have any technical training that wasn't necessarily seen as something. And I think a lot of people, have to, you don't have to, but one thing I would suggest, or I always push for, is a broader understanding of what is art beyond just the conventional realistic painting of on a canvas. And oftentimes people that are very, very creative don't have any conventional kind of education. And what we that was one of the things that we considered and we talked about. And that's also not to diminish or to say that there are not many African Americans that have gone through college and make wonderful, wonderful, fabulous art. We just wanted to highlight some people that maybe didn't have the same opportunity, and that was the basis of that decision.
Cool. Well, I personally appreciate that viewpoint and the holding of that space. Rochelle, given your background in the ad world, I got a couple of questions for you, given the time period we're in. There have been a ton of brands who've been nodding towards Black Lives Matter in their brand campaigns, but do you believe, from what you've seen over the last few months, that is the ad industry actually improving opportunities for people of color? Fearless Negro?
Sorry, could you repeat the last ending, please?
Yeah. Given all the talk that brands have done regarding Black Lives Matter, do you believe that the ad industry is actually improving opportunities for people of color?
I feel like that's a funny question because even take this brand that I'm wearing, for instance. This is EENY Eyewear. It's by a black female designer, black owned, self-taught, no technical training. And being that she has taken so many workshops in learning how to advertise herself, learning how to become, I guess, the conglomerate of what advertising corporations or big advertising agencies used to have, I'm realizing that the ad agencies now are becoming the entrepreneurs. So now they are becoming this large entity and learning how to do it themselves. And just in building your own website, they have softwares or corporations that can help you do that. So I'm learning that it's working better with collaboration again, which I like to stress in making it like a hybrid where the entrepreneurs now are becoming the ad agency in themselves, branding themselves, in a collaboration with these agencies, but it's no longer this big entity that is involved with making sure that you do this or you do that. It's more of like ENY, this person building her brand for over 8 years now, going to these workshops, learning these things, and cultivating her brand. So I'm believing that yes, ad agencies are helping when they are giving that information to the people that are looking for it, rather than, I guess, selling this big package of you come to us. It's more of like a collaboration, where I felt like ad agencies were kind of distant, as you can see with certain issues that might happen with for example, one of H&M's promos with the kid with the t-shirt, and it just went left, and it was just like, because there was no person in the room to tell you, okay, that's not right, that's a little sensitive, where I'm realizing that we're cutting out all of that, and it's like real time, happening at real time, where there's any issues or anything like that, it's people and their own concepts, and with the help of the advertising. So yes, they are helping in that way, but I feel like now it's more of on a smaller scale, which is helping the bigger picture, because now everything is going into everything is kind of going down to minimalism. So with advertising and with these people who are now, with all this time after 2020, learning, what they love, building small businesses, growing in these moments, I really do feel like, yes, advertising is helping, being that advertising is evolving with the times as well.
Okay. All right. So I guess thoughts for all three of you, what do you think that people within the industry can do to affect concrete changes? So lasting change within the ad world for Black talent.
Well, I think that there's a real effort on the side of the ad industry to help and to be more diversified. Everybody I've spoken to, they're very excited about the DSOV, the Don't Silence Our Voices program, and the fact that we included it within Ad Art Show. All of our partners, our sponsors, the artists, and we work with the ad industry, and everybody's been super, super supportive. So I feel like, coming together to support these type of things, and then looking at the talent. We're showing 7 new talent, yes, overlooked, maybe, new. So maybe it's an opportunity for them to be discovered, and maybe, who knows, maybe they'll have a chance to work for an agency at some point and do some work. So we're pretty much opening doors with this project, and I feel that the ad world has been very, very supportive of us overall. Now, you have to say that the artists we represent overall, the 135 artists, they're also all overlooked because, they're new, they're emerging, And some of them, you know, age doesn't matter. Some of them are younger, some of them are older, but they're all out there, you know, trying to show their art and you know, doing something. So I don't know if that answered your question, but hopefully, you know, I would hope the ad agency looks at our project and maybe is exposed to even more talent. And since we have a very diverse base of artists, then I think that we're a good place to look at for talent.
Great, great. Any additional thoughts?
It's a little harder for me to say because I'm not necessarily within the advertising world. I'm a curator and an artist, and you know, I would just say this: some of the artists that I recommended that I nominated for this show, one thing that was artwork that I couldn't actually show in the exhibition was something that really attracted me because it was work that had to do with social justice or civil rights issues. However, because of the sensitivity of the World Trade Center, we can't show anything political or violent or anything of that graphic nature. And so sometimes, you know, the best artwork is not always the most sellable or the easiest for, you know, telling a story. But to address your question, which this is kind of related, what could the advertising industry do, or how could they, you know, open up more? I think the biggest one is, you know, with the current elections going on, you know, I'm probably approaching this from more of a consumer or just a thinker, is I think there's a lot of division in constituencies and communities and consumers of how advertisers think. This is kind of my projection onto it.
Yeah.
And I think what would be useful is if they stopped doing that so much and had a more humanist approach. And if they tried to gear their branding more to a deeper level of the commonalities within humanity rather than different constituent groupings with the products that they're trying to market. And I think that, to me, that would be, you know, the best thing, because I think then there's a natural movement towards diversity and less of just, you know, reinforcement of inappropriate stereotypes.
I like that. Fearless Negro, any additional thoughts on that?
I mean, when I spoke with Maria, the one thing that Maria stressed was that to keep it genuine. And I feel like as long as we keep focusing on the truths of what is, you know, we can really create something that is so out of this world and so unreal. And being that, you know, she decided to use this platform for, again, people who probably never had this opportunity, it's just really a testimony to ad art, you know, in saying, I hear you, you know, and I realized that we have to continue to, you know, collaborate if we wish to see all these different sides of advertising in order for us to continue to cultivate something insane as having art, you know, in a shopping area. It's so amazing, and the experience too is just another thing that I guess money couldn't even buy, and people don't realize how much money that kind of advertising would really cost, and just that opportunity is just really a large step for humanity in my take.
Great. Given that, you know, we've got a few minutes left, and I kind of have probably 1.5 final questions for everybody. You know, you're all kind of more consumer side than agency side now. You know, what do you feel like your role as a consumer is to help influence the ad industry to do better? I know, Isaac, you kind of started on that path already, so I can give you a little bit of a break. But Maria and Fearless Negro, you're both consumers. I'm certain that Fearless Negro, you're no longer agency side, so you know you're shopping, you're buying the brands, you're interacting on social media with these places. You know, obviously brands tend to react when it is the most hot button issue without fully thinking, you know. So what do you think that people, you know, in the ad space could do better?
Fearless, you want to answer? Okay. So I think that in general, I agree with Isaac. I think less stereotype, more different kinds of people. And again, I think I know that the ad industry is making effort, and I think that's really important. And I would just say, from a consumer perspective, there's a lot of good ads out there, and there's a lot of not so good ads out there. I personally love advertising. I love to sit and watch new advertising and new things, and I think the ad industry as it's such a communication vehicle for consumers. And sometimes consumers have a low opinion of advertising, but hopefully with Ad Art Show and all the diversity and all the different art that we show, consumers can get to know that actually advertising is a very creative community, and very, very creative. And I believe that the ad industry is trying to do the right thing. Sometimes maybe it's a little short-lived because they are, following trends. So sometimes it would be better if something wasn't just a short, just continued rather than a fad. But I think that, seeing more messages that are helping people unite, come together. I think the ad industry really does influence culture tremendously. And I think they have such a huge responsibility to portray the kind of society we all want to live in. That's, and images and the kind of people and the kind of situation used, and a messaging is really important. So, that's my view. And I look forward to seeing more unification type initiatives from the ad industry to really bring us all together. So that's what I think.
Cool.
My thoughts are, people, I'm a consumer and I buy with my heart. People are spending with everything becoming so conscious and so thoughtful, and with what's going on, people are more buying with their hearts. And I feel like if we concentrate on the truth and keeping it real, I feel like that could go far, because people are really buying into that realness. It's no longer back in the days advertising, where they tell you to do certain things and you do it. People are now being more conscious of where they spend their money because of everything that's happening. People are becoming way more conscious. So, if we continue to realize that the consumers are, buying with their heart, that it would be a great thing, especially what Maria said, with that unity and uniting all of that, which is really amazing. And really thinking about the consumer as a whole, and as a person, not as this thing that we want to shove things on. It's more of keeping it organic, in a sense, if that's the best way I could describe it. And once we keep it organic and keep it genuine, like Maria always mentioned, I feel like we can go so far.
That's great. That's great. So I've got, gotten to speak to Maria and Isaac a couple of times, but I'd love for this audience to know, one, where to find your work if you've got a show happening soon, or, where can we find you? Where can we support your work?
You can Fearless Negro. That's my Instagram as well. I'm also on the Ad Art website. You can purchase an amazing piece, amazing energy, amazing. But yes, Fearless Negro, FEARLESSNEGRO. And hey, I'm welcome to new ideas and new friends.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, all three of you, for really setting the tone for what should be a fantastic week of fantastic work by some under the radar voices who are not being silenced. You are giving them a platform to have the volume all the way up to the maximum and share their craft. So we're really grateful for all three of you to be here. For everybody watching, thank you again for watching and following along for this very, very brisk month of September. There's going to be more Lunchtime POVs later this week, so make sure you tune in for the next couple, and I will see you all on Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bennett.
Everyone, for another great conversation. And thank you everyone for tuning in on today's live stream. I encourage you all to tune in tomorrow for the next Lunchtime POV, part of the Ad Art Show 2020 Winner Spotlight, which is hosted by Debbie Wells of Artful Circle, featuring David Strange, Ad Art Show 2020 winning artist. All POV interviews are available for viewing on mvvart.com and on MVVR's YouTube channel. I encourage everyone to go to our website and check out our fundraiser to buy a t-shirt to support City Harvest during Hunger Action Month, which is over at the end of September, so make sure you go out and check it out before it's gone. And of course, make sure you go to the Oculus at the West World Trade Center to get to see the Ad Art Show 2020 come to life on the screens. And while you're there, make sure you stop by Italy for a free coffee and dessert.